I'm Wes, the Autobody guy. After 15 years in the industry, I've decided it's time to share some of the tips and tricks I've learned along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to the Autobody guy. Today we're going to knock out a few dents here on this high-end day, and I figured it'd be good to show you guys the step-by-step process that we use. Everybody's a little bit different. But for doing traditional dents like this, with the grinding, sanding, and filling, so we'll get right into it here. The first step is to grind it down. We use a 60 grit grinding disc and get all the damaged area down to bare metal, so that you can properly do the stud pulling. So after using the 60 grit grinding disc, we switch up to roll lock fiber disc, and that gets rid of any corrosion or rust or issues like that, and gets it all nice and clean for the stud pulling. Now we'll just clean off the whole area, blow it off. Here is our stud puller machine, or one of them. And then here's our Merca sanding carts. They have DAs and blocks and everything you need to get a nice clean repair. So we're going to jump right in here to the stud pulling. Sometimes it takes a minute to get a good ground, but yeah, just pulling and hammering down the high spots. So we're basically leveling the metal and getting it all nice and smooth and straight. So after taking care of the straightening, the next step is to sand all the area down with 80 grit on a DA. This feathers back your paint edges and cuts through your grinding marks and all the raggedy edges. So we're trying to get a uniform blend here for when we apply the filler to the metal area and then transition it out onto the paint. If you have a really raggedy edge there, sometimes after painting, it'll dye back into your grinding marks and things like that. Even if you filled them, sometimes with dramatic temperature changes, it'll do this like drawback, and you'll see those scratches and stuff down the road. Like I'm talking like a year later. So anyway, I think this is a really important step to feather back those edges. So here we go, mixing up some filler, just the first coat. And a lot of dents, if the metal is straight, you can usually, I'm always trying to do 2 coats of filler and 1 coat of glaze, or top coat. There's a lot of different names for it, but essentially we're looking at 3 total coats of filler and top coat. That usually does the job for me, unless it's a complex dent repair. So we're just trying to fill the lows and feather out nicely onto the level surfaces so it makes sanding as easy as possible. So we didn't get much of the sanding here, but here's sanding the first coat down, getting that leveled out and shaped up. And I think we are going to be able to do this one in just 2 coats plus the top coat. And as you can see here, just a few little issues along the edges and the body lines that need a touch more filler before we go to top coat, so we'll take care of those next. So we skipped sanding the second coat, but here we are with the glaze coat, and just trying to get this on as smooth as possible. The tighter you can pull it on, the better. That'll fill the little pinholes and scratches. If you put it on just kind of thick and blobby, you'll have a lot more pinholes that you're going to have to come back with another coat to fill before you prime. So yeah, just pulling it really tight and as see-through as possible. You're just fixing very minor issues here before we go to primer. So what I'm doing here is putting on a dry powder guide coat. It's just a black powder that helps you sand and see any issues or voids or pinholes in your glaze coat. So now we're on to sanding the glaze coat, and this we always do with 180 grit. Sometimes we start with 80 just to knock the edges off and then quickly switch up to 180, but the safest thing is just to start with 180. Keep it really sharp paper, because you can get some humps and bumps if you let the paper get dull and you're just rounding things off instead of leveling them. Now once you're happy with the dent straightening and that you've sanded out all your 80 and 180 scratches, the next step is to go to 320, and a lot of times we do this on a block and then switch to a DA, and this will just get rid of the final 180 scratches and get the edges all feathered out for priming, because you need that transition from shiny paint to 320 grit sandpaper to the 180 or 180/320 that's over the bodywork. You're going to need that buffer of 320 to be able to blend out your primer. Alright guys, well that wraps things up for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for new alerts when we come out with new videos. We will see you on the next one.